It's Monday, January 13th. A worried sister is reaching out on Facebook, hoping someone knows where her 17-year-old brother might be.
Has anyone seen my brother? He's only 17 and he's been missing since yesterday evening, and no one has heard from him or can get through to him.
Friends and family are concerned, but what they don't yet know is that Keane has been killed, decapitated and chopped up in one of the most brutal gang murders Ireland has ever seen.
Gardaí have appealed for information to help identify human remains found in a sports bag in North Dublin last night.
At around 10 p.m. on January 13th, children came across a sports bag. Inside was something that would shock the entire nation. Human limbs belonging to Keane Mulready-Woods. Also inside the bag, a pair of flip-flops. This wasn't just any murder. The flip-flops weren't just a bizarre detail. It was a symbol of revenge and a warning from one of Ireland's most notorious gangsters. Robbie Lawlor, one of Ireland's most feared hitmen, had been humiliated a month earlier. After leaving a gym in Dublin, Lawlor was ambushed by a group of youths. They robbed him, beat him up, and stole his gym bag.
Yes! That's only the start of it! That's only the start of it! That's only the start of it, Robbie!
The incident was filmed and shared on social media, mocking him. They would also later post pictures of themselves wearing his flip-flops. For a man like Lawlor, this was unforgivable. But who was Keane Mulready-Woods, and how did he end up being the victim of one of Ireland's most brutal gang murders? Keane grew up in Drogheda and attended St. Oliver's Community College in the town. A popular youth from a well-liked working-class family, the teenager was a fan of motocross and owned his own scrambler bike. In his mid-teens, he was lured into petty offending by local criminals with the promise of money, designer clothes and respect. It's a route into criminality for many youths all around the country. Keane's descent into Drogheda's criminal underworld happened faster than usual, maybe due to the fact he is the godson of notorious gang leader Owen Maguire. He became involved with his godfather's drug gang at a time when its feud with a rival group was beginning to heat up. Known as the Drogheda feud, Keane was expected to take part in this. He smashed the window of the home of a boy who owed a drug debt before throwing a petrol bomb inside. But the feud wasn't just about threats. On July 5, 2018, a brutal attack changed everything for Keane's godfather. Owen Maguire was shot 6 times by a gunman at his home on Cement Road. One of the bullets lodged itself in his spine, leaving him permanently paralyzed. The man behind the assassination attempt remained hidden for years. It wasn't until November 2022, long after the violence had claimed more lives, including Keane's, that court documents revealed the identity of the gunman. Robbie Lawlor. On the night of January 12, 2020, Keane Mulready-Woods left his home for what would tragically be the last time. Earlier that evening, he had called his mother, asking her to leave money out for a taxi so he could return home later. Unbeknownst to him, he had been lured into a deadly trap. Paul Crosby had met with Keane, and Gerard Cruise was the driver who transported them to 31 Rathmullen Park, a house connected to Crosby, a well-known gangster closely associated with Robbie Lawlor, who was waiting for him inside the house. Initially, it's believed that the intent was to rough Keane up, to scare him as a warning. But as the night unfolded, the plan took a far more violent turn. Once inside the house, Keane was overpowered, beaten, and tortured. According to Gardaí reports, Robbie Lawlor then delivered the fatal blow, stabbing Keane in the neck and leaving him bleeding on the floor. However, Lawlor didn't stop there. He then proceeded to dismember Keane's body. Using a knife, Lawlor meticulously cut Keane into pieces. Paul Crosby and Gerard Cruise, though not directly involved in the killing, played crucial roles in setting the trap. But the murder wasn't about hiding the evidence. Lawlor's goal was to make sure Keane's death sent a message to his rivals. He packed Keane's remains into a black Puma sports bag alongside a symbolic addition, a pair of flip-flops. Keane's remains were then disposed of in 2 separate locations. The sports bag containing his limbs was discarded in Coolock, while his head and hands were placed in a burning car in Drumcondra. A clear, single motive for the murder of Keane was never explicitly confirmed by investigators beyond the ongoing gang war, but there are strong indications as to why Keane Mulready-Woods became a target. One likely motive is Keane's close connection to Owen Maguire. As Maguire's godson, Keane was considered part of his inner circle, which alone could have painted a target on his back. Robbie Lawlor, who had been locked in a vicious rivalry with Maguire's gang, saw Keane as a prime target. The animosity between Lawlor and Maguire reached its peak after Maguire was left paralyzed in a 2018 assassination attempt, later confirmed to have been carried out by Lawlor. After this attack, the feud intensified, with each side escalating their violence. Another likely motive was revenge for an earlier humiliation Lawlor had suffered. In December 2019, just weeks before Keane's death, Lawlor was ambushed by a group of youths after leaving a Dublin gym. The attack was recorded and shared widely on social media, tarnishing Lawlor's feared reputation. Although there is no direct evidence linking Keane to this mugging, the presence of a pair of flip-flops in the sports bag with Keane's dismembered limbs strongly suggests that Lawlor believed Keane was involved. But Robbie Lawlor wouldn't escape the consequences of his brutal actions. On April 4th, 2020, just months after Keane's murder, Lawlor was gunned down in broad daylight in Belfast. He was pronounced dead at the scene. It was reported by the Irish Mirror that Cornelius Price, a Drogheda gang boss, paid over €100,000 for Robbie Lawlor to be assassinated after luring him with a fake hit. It is understood that he fled Ireland to Britain weeks after his release from prison at the height of the Drogheda drugs feud in February 2020 because he was terrified Lawlor would kill him first. Price, who died from a brain disease last February, used a rival crime group to hire Lawlor to carry out a hit in Belfast. The whole arrangement was made via contacts in Mountjoy prison. Gardaí say the whole fake hit took weeks to set up. Lawlor had blamed Price for the killing of his brother-in-law in Bettystown and had vowed to get his revenge on Price. But Price also knew on a social level the father of Drogheda youngster Keane Mulready-Woods. Price and his associates were outraged at the brutality of the killing and believed Lawlor and his allies had crossed a line and taken the feud to a whole new level. Price then moved his close family from his compound near Gormanston, County Meath, to Rochdale outside Manchester, where he knew they would be safe, and vowed to take Lawlor out. A Garda source said Price was no angel and he had plenty of blood on his own hands in his own criminal career, but he was shocked by what Robbie Lawlor had done to Keane Mulready-Woods. We believe he paid over $100,000 to set up Robbie Lawlor, and that is exactly what happened. Price felt Lawlor had to be stopped before he killed him or members of his family. It was like something you'd see from a Netflix Narcos movie. Cornelius Price put a video out on social media toasting Lawlor's death hours after the murder.
It's a video. It says to Robbie Lawlor, boys, rest in peace. He's not even worth saying rest in peace, but fair play to him. There you go, boys.
Captain Morgan.
Captain Morgan.
Patrick Tier and Adrian Holland have been charged with and have denied murdering Mr. Lawlor. A third accused, James Fields, appeared at Belfast Crown Court, where he was charged with assisting offenders. However, this is still an ongoing investigation. The Garda source added, "These two guys had history and absolutely hated each other's guts. Ironically, both are dead now, and it was the brain disease and not Gangland which got Cornelius Price in the end." He probably did the world a big favor, getting rid of Lawlor, who was a madman and literally just killed for fun. The court trials following the murder of Keane Mulready-Woods brought some justice to his grieving family, but led to lengthy court proceedings in the Special Criminal Court. 27-year-old Paul Crosby and 49-year-old Gerard Cruise played pivotal roles in the lead-up to Keane's murder. They lured Keane to 31 Rathmullen Park, where he was killed and dismembered by Robbie Lawlor. Both men were well known to the authorities, with Crosby already having over 40 previous convictions. Although neither man physically participated in the killing or the dismemberment of Keane's body, their roles in luring him to the location and in helping Lawlor carry out his plan made them critical facilitators. Crosby and Cruise were seen laughing as they were led away from court after being sentenced. It was reported that one of them was overheard saying, "We got off lightly," boasting about the short length of their sentences. Paul Crosby was sentenced to 10 years in prison, while Gerard Cruise received 7 years. Both men had 6 months suspended, and because of remission rules, Crosby could be out in 7.5 years, and Cruise in 5 years. Another key figure, 46-year-old Stephen Carberry, was also brought before the Special Criminal Court. Carberry was charged with disposing of Keane's body parts after the murder. Between January 13th and 15th, 2020, Carberry was accused of transporting and disposing of Keane's severed limbs. Additionally, he was charged with setting fire to the Volvo V40 in Trinity Terrace, Ballybough, where Keane's head and hands were later discovered in the car's boot. The Gardaí remain hopeful of making more arrests and bringing additional charges in connection to the disposal of Keane's remains and other aspects of the murder.